right, so we're now talking about how we serve each of the different styles, okay? So let's have a look at the influencer now, okay? So the influencing style is concerned with approval and appearance, right? So in a sense, some of the niceties with them is kind of what you like about them, how you know, because it is very much centered around, it sounds a little bit selfish, but we want to build these teams, we want to build rapport. And so show them how much you like them. They're always seeking out enthusiastic people. So they do like D's in the sense of the enthusiasm. They can find them maybe a little bit confronting sometimes, but always be optimistic and provide an upbeat setting. I mean, their whole space of rapport and building rapport with them is around positive communication. So it's got to be, and you can bring some tough stuff if you bring it in the right way. And not fake it, right? Don't do this whole positive, I call it the positive burrito, right? A nice wrap around nasty meat that's gone off, right? Which is the wrap is nice, but the meat is here's the stuff I really need to correct you on. So watch for that. They think very emotionally, right? So think about how you can support their feelings, because they will use feeling words. C's, you got to watch this. Okay, because you can disconnect from an I so quickly, because it's like, I don't care what you feel, I just want to know what you know, right? So remember, they need a bit of feeling, a bit of emotion, and even the C's, I know you got them. And so it's just understanding some of that. They want to know the general expectations of them, and so when we say general expectations, we're basically saying avoid too many specifics. Certainly don't do what we call stacking of directives with an I. Stacking of directives is where you go to someone and say, can you do this and then that, and write it down, or make sure they're writing it down, because they'll forget everything, okay? It's just, they just don't process like that, okay? They need involvement with people. You cannot put an I in an office, in a quiet corner of the room. They will constantly be at the water cooler, they'll constantly be in the tea room, or wherever it is that you have your social engagements, or just annoying people just because they can, because they need that interaction. So, don't put them in a room without windows. They need, like, it's part of their extroverted behavior is to look out and to take input in. So that's part of how they function, is that creative space. So think things like that. They love innovation and change, and they're actually good in that piece too, particularly once something's kind of been like, hey, we could do this, it'd be really cool. They're really good at kind of saying, okay, yeah, and we could do this and this and this with it, and they can take it to that next level. And so they love innovation and change. So they want the routine that they have to be varied. So you change the way you do things with them, change maybe some of the stuff that they do and switch it with somebody else perhaps, or whatever it might be. They want that variety. And so just like the D's, remember this is more the assertive, they want people to notice them. Okay, so that whole noticing thing is really important. Compliment them often. I know sometimes it might feel a bit trite. C's struggle with this the most. It's like, well, I feel fake doing it. You know what? Sometimes you just got to do that, okay? Because that helps serve somebody else. It's not necessarily serving you so well, but this is the platinum rule we're talking about. How do they want to be led, okay? Not how do you want to be treated. Okay, so look for action and stimulation. You were seeing a pattern here, right? A lot of energy, a lot of optimistic behavior, a lot of positivity, all those sorts of things. And so you've just got to constantly affirm them in that. So building rapport with an I, they're going to desire a positive environment, right? If they feel like it's not positive, I mean, they'll probably complain about it first, but eventually they'll just leave, okay? Whilst they're not a careful listener, they are very empathetic, okay, which is a really odd combination, but they are quite empathetic. And so, when you provide support for them, make sure it's that positive reinforcement. Watch the way you give negative feedback, right? And so anything that has a hint of correction, even if it's, hey, can you just do this differently? They may take that as, oh, you don't like me, not you don't like what I do, or hey, thanks for that feedback. So that's going to be an unhealthy I, but again, it can happen. So just watch out for that in terms of how you give them instructions, how you work with them, and those sorts of things. And that plays into this whole idea of how do you offer an influencer advice, right? Offer them a lot of just ideas. Like, here's a few things you consider. Which one do you think would work best for you? And they'll go, oh, I really like that one. It might be work opportunities. Hey, we've got these 3 things we need done. Which one would be best for you to do, right? They're the ones that are going to think about, like, what brings me the most joy, what brings me the most energy. They're thinking like that. So you've got to understand that. Whatever other part of the spectrum you're on, it's funny how much eyes don't understand their own eyes. And so, yeah, just have a think about that. So that's the influencer in terms of how we serve them. We'll come back in a minute with the stabilizer.